Good afternoon. Welcome to In the Zone. I'm Craig Zimmerman. This is In the Zone number 5. And sitting across from me today is a buddy from Marine City. We dug really deep to get this guy. We went to the depths of our public relations people. Pete Patsalis.
What's going on, man? How are you?
Welcome. Hooked One Charters is your new business. We'll talk about that. We'll go through a bunch of questions. And as I always tell people, if we say something we don't like or we stumble, we can always have Paul cut it out.
Perfect. Perfect.
So tell everybody here that's going to watch this on CTV6 and on the internet where you grew up and who your parents are and the whole scheme.
Yeah, so I was born right in Marine City, East China. My parents have had the Riviera restaurant in Marine City. My dad's been there for 40 years. My family's had it for 42 years. My grandpa started it.
Yep.
So I was born and raised here. Graduated from Marine City High School in 2014. And that's when, the whole business thing kind of started to take over, doing what we were doing. I went and I did school, graduated with my associate's degree in business, and then realized that I just wanted to get into the field. And then obviously with my parents being in the restaurant business, right? Dad's in the restaurant business. So just kind of pick up what he's doing, but do what I love to do.
Sort of a passion type thing.
Yeah, I was never really, Mom and Dad were never big into the fishing, any of that. So it was kind of friends in high school that got me into it. And it was early in high school, freshman year, all the way our senior skip day. I remember me and a buddy, Cody, we skipped school and we didn't go to Cedar Point or do anything like that. We went out fishing. We had our limit before lunch and we spent the rest of the day cleaning and eating fish. So it started there. Then it grew into
Let's back up.
Yep.
Your family, you got a couple brothers.
I do. We got 2 younger brothers. Both of them graduated from Marine City High School.
Yep.
William actually just graduated. Congrats, Will. He just graduated from Wayne State.
Yep.
He's going into sports management. He's been working with the Wayne State basketball team. And then Angelo is currently at SC4. And I think this is his last year here. We're not really sure what's next for him.
Okay. We'll let him determine that, right?
Yeah. Okay. So whatever he wants to do.
Okay. So you started this basically after working at the restaurant a bunch of years. And I'm sure it was a question because I come from a family that has a family business. And so there's no written rules, but there's always time to think and talk about, do you want to carry on the tradition?
Mm-hmm.
Do you not?
Absolutely.
And that probably came up with the family, right?
Yeah. It came up after I got my associate's degree. So I got my associate's degree in business and it was, where do I want to go next? What do I want to do next? And honestly, I loved being in the restaurant. I liked being able to deal with all the people. I liked being home because the restaurant gave me the ability to work in the evenings, which allowed me to fish during the days.
Right.
So in 2018 is when this kind of all started. I started the fishing charters. So we just did charters. I started with 10 to 15 trips. But it was a way to supplement fishing because it gets expensive.
Yeah, so you can do it for free almost, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can make a couple trips, make some gas money, get some stuff in the store, and then still be done by noon in order to get to work by 2 and work the night shift.
Sure.
COVID rolled around, right? And it totally changed. So the fishing charter stopped, the restaurant business kind of stopped. And then the fishing charters came back before we were allowed to go full scale.
So fishing charters cut way back during COVID. In other words, people weren't looking to get out of the house to even go fishing.
Well, for 3 weeks, we weren't even allowed to go fishing.
Okay.
We weren't even allowed to be in the boats. And then after we got our boats back, we weren't even allowed to meet with customers. Because what happened was you had a lot of people coming from Lansing, Grand Rapids, Detroit. They all meet together. One person has it. They all go back. So they put the kibosh on that. So that is when the restaurant stayed carry-out only, it gave me time to really dive full scale into my charter business. And within, that was 2020, so we were on year number 3. My books filled up quick. And then that's when it became something like, hey, we need to find a place to run these charters, because I was doing them all from the launch.
Right.
And that is...
So you bought a house in East China, moved into the house in East China, doing that thing, and then another opportunity arose where you saw something for sale. Or did they seek you out?
Kind of both.
Okay.
Kind of both. So we bought a house right at the end of 2019 going into 2020. So I got to fix it up all during COVID. We got to hang out and get that taken care of. And then The fall of 2021 rolled around, or the fall of 2020 rolled around, and I knew the piece that I wanted. It was right there at the mouth of the Bell River. I've been seeing it for years being vacant. And I always said to myself, if I could get in there just to put my charter boat in there, they had bathrooms, they had a parking lot, I could put a fish cleaning station in there. But they wanted to lease it. So, long story short, they finally came to us. They wanted to sell it. They threw out a number that, we really couldn't refuse. So it was a matter of sitting down with my now fiance saying, hey, what do you think about this? You know what I mean? What do you think about trading away our house and our yard to go live above a bait shop? And
although the building's a pretty nice building.
Yeah, and that was what sold it. It was a beautiful building. It's a 2-bedroom apartment upstairs, which will eventually be able to Airbnb out. It'll be a really nice unit for rent where you'll be able to put a boat slip and stuff like that. But for me, it worked out perfect. Walk downstairs to work, walk downstairs to my charters, my boat's there, our fish cleaning station's there, our parking lot's there. So I could have that central idea that I loved so much about going to Florida and seeing what they were able to operate and how they operate it down there. And with selling the house came, how do you pay for this new property? Well, I've got friends in the tackle industry. They said, start a bait shop. The charters was never supposed to lead to a bait shop, but here we are.
Right. So you've got a storefront there. You've got all kinds of bait. You got tackle. You got worms. You've got minnows. You've got quite a bit for the fishermen to come in and go fishing.
So we're on the south end of Marine City. We're not on the main drag. We're on like the back street, but it's kind of difficult to find from the road. We're on South Bell River Avenue. But it's the perfect location for the river. You've been there. We're right at the mouth of the Bell River. The stone piles are our neighbors. We put money into putting the ladders out back, putting bumpers out back. So now it's one of the few places where you can actually pull up by boat, tie off, run in. We've got rods, we've got reels, we've got live minnows and worms. So live bait for all the guys. We've got nets, jigs, plastics. I mean, if you need to catch a fish out in Lake St. Clair or on the St. Clair River, it's our pride. It's there. You know what I mean? We've got it there for the guys. And honestly, I mean, you look at the 40-mile stretch of river from Port Huron down to Elginak. We've got a couple good bait shops up in Port Huron. There's nobody in Marysville. The gentleman in St. Clair retired. There's us. And then there's a small shop in Elginak, and then there's some in Fairhaven. But for 40 miles, you have 3 shops. So it was a necessity, especially from my point of view, being a fisherman. It was a necessity to be able to, where guys could come get, gear where they didn't have to run to Cabela's, or they didn't have to go find, Gander Mountain's out of business, but they didn't have to go to Gander Mountain at the time. So I thought it was a really cool opportunity that we had there.
Now, you and I talked about last week when I stopped by the shop there, that there are some things that people are going to buy online. They're going to, go on whatever site they want to buy because it's easy and it can be delivered to the house. But there's also some things that as a fisherman, you can't buy and have them shipped to you. You can't have minnows shipped to you. You can't get worms that way, fresh. A couple lures that the fish ate yesterday, or they're at the bottom of the St. Clair River. You need some in a hurry. You're going out. So that's exactly, you're sort of that point of contact for all the easy stuff.
Exactly, and that was, so there's another gentleman in there with me. We talked about it a little bit, but that Louis, he's a younger guy, got out of high school, and wanted to get into the fishing industry, and it was perfect timing for both of us. I needed help, he needed a little breakthrough, and that's something that we talked about was like, we can't compete with prices from Cabela's or Frank's or like a Northwoods because they have so much more volume, right? That's the business of it.
Weather gear. You're not going to handle all that.
Or if you want, your stock lure that you can get dirt cheap, they can sell them for 50 cents because they're selling thousands of them. You know what I mean? Where the small business, we had to kind of look at it like, we're not going to move as many units, but what can we have that they won't have? Well, one, we have local knowledge on the river. It's 2 guys that fish 6 days a week. I can tell you where the fish are. I can tell you how deep they are. I can tell you what colors they're biting on. So there's that. Like you said, you can't order minnows, you can't order worms online. So we have our live bait. And then the other thing is we focus on a lot of custom stuff that we do ourselves or stuff that local guys in Michigan make that are custom that you really can't buy anywhere else, right? A lot of custom jigs, a lot of custom crawler harnesses, a lot of custom Rapalas and lures that you're not going to find online. And when you do find them online, they're $20, they're $25 because the big box stores get gouged by them. We don't get gouged by them. They sell them to us at a reasonable price so we can spin them over at a reasonable price. And so we really focused on carrying a lot of stuff that's unique. We have all the basic stuff that you need for the river, but we have a lot of different stuff, unique, pretty area specific. You know what I mean?
So is it the colors then?
Yes. Yep. The colors and the patterns.
Okay.
A lot of it's the colors and the patterns, and then depending on the time of year, depends kind of where they are and what they're biting.
Okay. Now, I'm not a fisherman, so I don't, can you take and use something this May and think that, hey, next May I can do the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So it's all cyclical. So you look at like your early spring run. So from like January to March, you get a lot of salmon in the system. They're biting a lot of trolling baits. So essentially you're using spoons and body baits. You can use them all year.
Okay.
That's my favorite thing about the bait and tackle business. You get a $1,000 order in the restaurant, $2,000 order, it's going to expire.
Right.
I put $1,000 in the bait shop, it's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? It sits on the shelf, it's good. It's going to be used the next year. It's going to be used the year after that. I mean, the same color, it seems like your same basic colors work in the same spots at the same time of the year every year.
Okay.
And there's some things that change. Technology's changing. Styles are changing. There's more people on the water. They're coming from different areas, so you're getting all these different styles. But our river in particular and where we're at in our system is a lot different than really anywhere in the country. You hear it from tournament guys especially all the time.
So tell me what those people say.
Our water is it's very blue.
Okay.
Our water is very, very clean. You know it.
Right.
We all know it in the area, you know. And it's beautiful to look at. It makes it very hard to catch fish because they can see it from so far away. The other thing is our water's a lot deeper. There's a lot of times where we're fishing 35, 40 feet of water where, you know, other places in the Midwest, they're fishing 8 foot, 20 foot at the deepest. So you're fishing a lot deeper. And then the current, man, the big thing is the current. There's anywhere from a 6 mile an hour current to a 2 mile an hour current anywhere in that river. So if you want to stop and fish anywhere, your lures are always going to be moving with the current. So it's using heavier gear, using different colors because the water changes. Like we use different colors here than they use in the Detroit River. So
why would that be?
Because the water clarity is different. So we get Lake Huron that drains into our river.
Right.
That's why we get such blue, clean water. It goes through Lake St. Clair, which is essentially a shallow sand bowl. It gets real dirty, and then it flushes into the Detroit River. So, and that's always why Detroit catches fish first. Their water gets warmer first. Their water's dirtier first before ours is dirty. But while they're catching walleye, we're catching salmon and trout that never make their way down to Detroit because they come into the St. Clair River and then they go right back into Lake Huron.
Okay. So now when I've seen a couple times on I don't know if it's been ESPN, ESPN2, some of these tournaments that have come to Detroit, and you see these guys out there with their, you know, $300,000 bass boat, they're going 70 miles an hour or whatever. They're coming here from out of state tournament. These guys do it for a living. So I'm guessing that the first time they're all over the place and trying to catch on or figure out what the deal is, but if they come back the second or third time, they probably keep notes and they know. Yep,
absolutely. So you notice a lot of these guys that are fishing the system for the first year are bouncing all over the place. They're having a really hard time trying to figure out, you know, do I go to the lake? Do I go to the river? What do I do? The guys that have done it before have some spots that are picked out. There's always going to be spots in the river that are going to produce better than others, whether it's a drop off or there's structure on the bottom or there's, you know, maybe there's a break in the current if it's like behind a seawall. Those spots are always going to hold fish over other spots. So for those guys coming out of town, it's just a matter of figuring out where it's at. Now, it's interesting you bring that up because within the last 5 years or so, our fishery, and by our fishery, I mean from the St. Clair River, Lake St. Clair, and then Detroit River. Okay, those 3 bodies of water. They've seen a lot more tournament fishermen, and honestly, it's stimulated our economy. And I mean, we had guys this year. They had a national tour in Detroit, so guys are coming from South Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, all over the place in Michigan, Ohio. You know, they're all over the country. They're coming here and they're coming into our little local bait shop because they're not dumb. You know, they're on their phone. They're finding all the bait shops.
They know that you're going to know. Right.
They come in, they pick our brains for a good hour. They spend $500-600 on equipment because it's like we talked about. They can't get it anywhere else. They spend $500-600 on equipment. On they go. And you know what they say every time is, hey, we'll see you next year, because they know they're going to come back. They know that the people in the shops are going to take care of them. The people in the shops know that they're going to take care of us. And now we're starting to see a lot of national tours. The National Bass Tour has been around for a while. There's 2 different circuits of bass leagues, I guess you'd call them, that come through. They're there every year. They've got the shiny wrapped boats, the power poles on the back. Right. You know what I mean? They're the real deal.
Sponsored.
Oh yeah. It's big money, and that's what I try to tell a lot of people around here that aren't fishermen is you don't really realize how much money is sitting right outside of our towns, and I tell the people in Marine City that, we got to get rolling on it and get these people in the store. St. Clair, they've got the nice marina up here, so but there's so much money on the water. Boats aren't cheap.
Oh, right.
There's so much money on the water, and these guys they're just asking for places to go, places to spend money at all these local shops. So for us, as like the Blue Water area, we've seen, really good economic benefit from them, all the way from restaurants to the small boutiques, because their wives are with them and their kids are with them. It's a vacation for them. It's a weekend vacation. So it's been pretty cool seeing the pro circuits start to take a liking to our bodies of water.
Okay. Do you ever see yourselves doing a tournament at all out of Marine City?
Yeah. Right now we've got like our own derby going on, so it's just like a $5 derby to get in. It's pretty simple. It's our first year doing it. It's basically just a trial run, so next year I can pitch it to sponsors so we can get giveaways and more money and stuff like that. Something Louie and I really want to do is we want to put on a really big tournament. To be honest with you, we want to have one of the biggest tournaments on the river itself. A lot goes into that as far as if you want to do it right. You got to get licensing and permits and draw all that stuff. And then the other thing is you got to have a place for it. So ideally we want to have 75 to 100 boats. The bait shop can't hold that.
Right.
But there are places down the river that, they might be willing to help out. The city might be willing to help out.
There's a restaurant with a parking lot in Marine City called Riviera.
Yeah, exactly. Big parking lot, big park next door, right on the river, so we can do the weigh-ins.
Right.
It's definitely something we want to bring to Marine City. It's something that we'd probably do really around this time of year, early May, because that's when you're finding bigger fish. And the cool thing is being in the business, I get to meet a lot of people.
Sure.
I get to meet a lot of people from the lake. I get to meet a lot of tournament anglers. So I've got people on board that are willing to help out. So now it's just, like you said, figuring out the logistics. Where are all the boat and trailers going to park? Where are we going to launch from? I mean, as far as launches go, if you got 100 trucks and trailers, you got to find them.
Stage them. Staging is what you'd have to do.
Exactly. So you got to find a way to put them. But it's definitely something that's on our radar. It's cool because with the charter business, we just do fishing. With the bait shop, I get to do so much more. We've already held seminars on the dock for guys that are looking to get into it. As well as I do. Post-COVID, there's been more people in the outdoors, fishing, hunting, biking,
Spending money,
or hiking, all that stuff. So they need that knowledge. Like I told you, our area is very unique. You can't go on YouTube and really, places to fish on the St. Clair River and find it like you can Green Bay, Detroit River,
Milwaukee,
stuff like that. Exactly. So, we got a podcast going to try and get people rolling on that. But that's what I love about the bait shop is we can do the tournaments, we can do the derbies. We want to, another thing that we really are looking forward to is doing like a kids camp or a kids clinic, because when I was younger, there was really nowhere for me to get this information, right? If it wasn't for my friends in high school, people like Jamie and Cody that helped me out, I wouldn't be where I am today.
Sure.
So I want to give those kids an option like Louie kind of had. So now there's high school bass fishing teams, so kids can get on those. There's colleges that allow you to bass fish and do that. So you can, it's a door to the professional bass and professional fishing industry, but it's not a good door. There's a lot of barriers you got to get through. And it's cool that I think, with technology changing and really with everything changing, social media and all that, we can be just another outlet for kids and adults to get into the fishing industry and get into the fishing business if that's something they want to do.
Okay, yep. Okay. Let's talk about high school. So you were part of the 2013 team.
Yep.
Not only did you go a long way, you went all the way, and you won your last game.
You did.
Which is not typical of most high school sports.
Yeah, it was weird. It's funny because you still, you get together with the guys. It's been 8 years now.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's been a while.
Right.
You get together with the guys and you talk about it, and it's like, man, usually you end, and it happened to me the 3 seasons before that. You end, you lose, you're done.
Right.
You win, and you're like, what's next? Nothing's next. Huh. Right. So, but it was really cool, man. It's I know Ron was on here, Coach Glodich.
Yep.
I have a hard time calling him Ron, right?
Right.
Coach Glodich was on here. He's got some stuff coming up, so we'll be getting together again with the team. That was a special team that we were with, man. Like a lot of us still stay in contact. A lot of us still talk to each other here and there. That was a really special run. I know the other half of the district, there is that one loss on our ring. So the other half of the district likes to give us a hard time about that, but it was really cool, man. And to be honest with you, I know it sounds really cliche, but if it wasn't for going through that football program and going through what we did, and I'm not even saying the state championship run, all 4 years, but especially that state championship run, right? You build up, it's the biggest game against your rival. There's thousands of people in the stands. And frankly, you get your butt kicked.
Right.
We didn't play our best game. How do you come back from that? It would have been really easy to shell up. We got Port Huron Northern next, and then you go into your playoffs, which, again, it was Marysville, Richmond, so more local rivals. That time was a really good time in sports, a really good time in football. Going through that really helped me throughout the rest of my life, right?
Well, that was my next question, so I'm glad you went on with it.
Yeah, that's the one thing about football and in sports in general that I think you can take out of it, because now I'm sitting here, I'm 26, I've been out of high school. You go through a lot of, keep it PG, you go through a lot of stuff in life, and you kind of figure out, Coach Bob always had the saying, the sun will come up tomorrow.
Right.
No matter what happens today, the sun's going to come up tomorrow. And that's important to learn, because it's not easy, especially starting your own business, doing all this stuff. There's been times where you look and, oh man, I got these payments to make. I've got this to make. And
checkbook's
deep
low.
Deep breath. Yep. Deep breath. You'll get through it. Just keep grinding. You'll get through it. And honestly, that's the one thing out of the whole state championship. The ring is great. The memories are great. Mm-hmm. But it was those life lessons like, hey, just put your nose to the pavement. Finish what you've got to finish, and then you can sit back and look on it and be like, hey, we did it. But it's never done.
Right.
It's never done.
Continue. One thing that I wanted to discuss, not only about that run, but about, I'll call it, the catch, okay? I don't need to say any more, right?
No.
The catch.
Yeah.
For people that don't know what we're talking about, we'll dissect it a little bit. You guys are playing Country Day, correct?
Correct.
Country Day comes in, and I talked to Coach Ron about it. I said, they come in, their entrance to the field, and they come doing their circle around, and you look to maybe the players don't, because they're not maybe wanting to watch it, but you look at this sort of a men amongst boys. You're talking some 6'6", 6'7", 220 guys that are running 40s and some crazy numbers, and you go, whoa, here we go.
Legitimate players.
Yeah.
Legitimate players. And I don't mean that like we didn't have legitimate players.
Right.
One guy
right.
went from our team and played college football in Division III.
Right.
I tried it didn't work out for me. A couple other guys tried it didn't work out for them. One guy went and played. So you see the difference. And that, coaches preach it over and over, and
right.
I'll say it. A couple of the coaches came up to me years later and were like, hey, I didn't think we were going to win that game.
Right.
And honestly, there wasn't a doubt in my mind, just because I didn't want to lose. Right. I wasn't ready to be done, so it was like, who's next? Put them in front of us. Everybody talks about the gauntlet that you go through to get there, and we went through a tough one. You got to beat the best to be the best. And if it wasn't for the mentality that our team had, grinding it out every play, those guys walked in. East China Stadium's a special place, man. You get teams that are used to playing in the city. They drive down 26. They drive 7 miles through cornfields. Now the new driveway into the pack is even cooler. You have to drive through the woods to get there, right? So these guys don't even really realize where they're at. Right. And the next thing you know, you're getting your teeth kicked in.
Right.
Because it's physical football. It doesn't matter if it's orange and black or red and blue. If you step foot on East China Stadium, you know what I mean? You're going to get your teeth kicked in. And Country Day was one of them. Just keep hitting them and they'll stop.
Right.
Just keep hitting them and they'll stop. And finally, in the fourth quarter, you could feel it. You know what I mean? You could feel it start to bend, then finally start to break.
But the life lesson there that I see is the issue of never giving up, number one. Number two, playing for that play.
Absolutely. You can only do one thing at a time.
Right.
You can look forward, and I had a really hard time always looking, especially with the charters and then the restaurant and then the bait shop, always looking forward, what's coming next. You can't do it.
Right.
What am I doing right now? Focus on what you're doing right now and get it done. And then move on to the next thing. And I see it all the time in the fishing industry. You look at these guys, they've got $150,000 boats. They've got all these sponsors. They've got this, they've got that. And then I pull up next to them and we start catching fish.
Right.
You know, you look at me now, I'm a charter captain. I'm taking clients out. You've got a local that's next to me with a 14-foot, you got a 14-foot aluminum boat. He's pounding them.
Right.
That's a life lesson that, you know, you can look and see something, but the reality of the situation is going to be completely different.
Right. Right. The basics. Do the basics.
Yes. Stick to what you're good at doing. Don't worry about what, you know, that's what I learned was don't worry about what they're doing. You know, they come in and run a totally different, as far as football terms, they come in, they run a spread offense. They've got 4 receivers split wide. They've got 1 running back in the back. That's an absolute beast. They've got a huge O-line that had no discipline. They were a zone blocking team. Block the guy in front of you.
Right.
Well, it's hard to block the guy in front of you when the guy in front of you is going one way and the guy's going the other way. That's everything, right? You got to stick to what you do best. I stick to what I do best. I don't worry about what they're doing as far as like fishing terms, right? I don't worry about what they're doing. I do what I do. I'm walleye fishing. I'm doing what I do, and that's the way it's going to be. Same with football. We're going to ground and pound. That's the way we were, and that's what got us to the top.
Right. So on that situation of the catch, I don't remember what down it was.
3rd.
Okay, what's 3rd down? So 3rd down and long?
It was about 3rd and 10. I remember this play specifically because after that, you had so many people, well, that wasn't a catch.
Right.
In my mind, we were still winning the game.
Right.
It doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, we had another down
It was
anyway.
Right. 3rd and 6, something like that. It was 3rd and medium.
Right.
There was over 40 seconds left in the game. We still had timeouts.
Right.
We ran a corner play to the corner of the end zone. Alex dropped back, lobbed it up into the corner. It was tipped, landed in my hands. I bobbled it, pinned it against my head.
Caught it.
Only need 1 foot in bounds for all the spectators out there. Had 1 foot in the corner of the end zone. Sell it to the ref. Hey, I caught this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sell it to the ref. And if I honestly believe that if the catch didn't happen, we were going to score the next play, because for anyone that was watching that game, we had our way with them in the second half.
Right.
It was a tie game going into halftime, and we were able to move the ball when we needed to, do what we needed to, and that goes back to, at halftime, you know, do what we do.
Right.
Forget about what they're doing, do what we do, execute our plays, and same thing, win 1 play at a time.
Now, Mariner fans that might watch, would you say in the huddle at that time that there was any negativity or worrying? Maybe.
I think one of our biggest downfalls of that team might have been our confidence. We were a very confident team.
Right.
We got called little farm boys enough to where we finally got a lot of confidence, and we're like, you know, play us.
Right.
11 on 11, we'll see what happens in between the lines. And I think there was a little bit of like urgency, you know, hey, it needs to get done.
Right.
But as far as like negativity, or like, you know, I don't think we're going to get this, or I don't know if we're going to get this.
Right.
I felt none of that. And when the play was called, I mean, I knew from a personal standpoint, I knew where I was releasing, I knew where I was going, I knew how I was setting it up, and I knew where I was ending up. They ran a good defense with a zone. They had someone there, but again, do what I do.
Right.
I'm running to the corner of the end zone. Alex is going to throw the ball, and I'm going to catch it. That's it.
Right. And pandemonium comes out.
Craziness breaks loose, and I mean, there was enough time on the clock to where we had to kick it off and play defense for 2 more plays. So I think that was a little bit of, you know, kept the negativity out of it. Was like, hey, if this doesn't work, you know, we'll have another one that might work. But yeah, it was craziness. We were able to do something we didn't think we were going to do, and then after that, it was the semifinals, and we got to freeze a little bit.
Right. So you learn those things in high school, and you carry over into business. Mm-hmm. You feel that they carry over business whether you're at the restaurant or at charters?
Absolutely. You're going to run into difficulties, you know, in the restaurant. Your distributors are out of fish. They're out of to-go boxes. They're out of whatever the situation is.
Right.
You know, and in the bait shop, you run into the same things. They're out of this. They're out of that.
Right.
But it's the same thing. You got to focus on the task at hand and what needs to get done, and you just have to figure out a way to do it.
Right.
That's the big thing in not worrying, looking ahead, being like, oh, well, I don't have this, and this, and trying to solve it all at once.
Sure.
I don't have this, solved. I don't have this, solved. I need to do this, solved. I think that's the biggest thing about it. And then the other thing is, it's perspective on the whole thing.
Right.
I heard a really good saying back in high school: if you're always looking for a red car, you're going to see a red car. So if you're always looking for, what's going wrong, this happened, this always happens, this happened, this always happens. I ran into a rut last year where it was, they're out of this again. Oh, they're out of this again. Where, I did a lot of growing where it was like, okay, now we've got to change. Now we have to do this. Right. We have to do that.
There's no
if
option.
the fish aren't biting one day and someone's paying me to catch fish, I can't keep doing the same thing, just being like, this never happens for me. You got to, like I said, you got to put your nose down and make it happen.
Yeah, the definition of what do they say?
I know where you're going. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over.
And expecting a different result.
And expecting different results. And that's real life. It's not going to happen.
Yep. Okay. So tell us about charters. How many charters do you do a week, say from May till September, October, on average?
It all depends on the season. So like right now for the month of May, I think I only had 5 days off, like 5 days open. Now, weather is a big situation.
Yep.
We talked about, I'm supposed to have a trip tonight and, it's blowing 40 miles an hour out of the south. So unfortunately that's not going to happen. But this time of the year, I really try to load up as much as I can. My goal is to line up as many days in a row as I can because I love seeing all those dots on the calendar and just churning them out. It's funny, but it's easier to do it that way than like have one and take 2 days off, and then have one and take 2 days off.
Just a rhythm.
Right. But when we first started, like I talked about, I did 10 to 15. Now I've got 25 in May. April, we did about 15 in April. I've got 25 in May. My first 2 weeks of June are already booked up.
Okay.
Come the end of June is when like the charter season really slows down because then, the river fishing slows down. So then we head out to the lake and we start doing bass and maybe there's some perch around. We chase the walleye out there. But a lot of the times in the spring, you get a lot of guys that are just gearing up for the spring run. You see it on Facebook, you see it on your outdoor forums, all over the place. So, we're getting calls, 2-3 calls a day from random numbers. Hey, when do you have availability? Hey, when do you have availability? I don't.
Okay.
But the good news is, Louis that we talked about, he just got his captain's license. We're waiting for all the official paperwork to make it through the mail before he starts running official charters because I don't want any issues with Coast Guard, all that good stuff. So next year, we'll be at the point where, because like everyone, they're all running behind. So once that comes in, we'll be running full go. Next spring, we'll have 2 charter boats, hopefully looking to add a seasoned captain for a 3rd boat. That's going to be huge for us because I'm getting to the point personally I can't keep up.
Sure.
You know what I mean? You only have so many days. I don't have a Saturday or Sunday
your
until
inventory
July.
is 30 days in a month.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have a Saturday or Sunday until the second week of July.
Okay.
Awesome for the business itself, but at the same time, it's not good because all those clients that want to go out with us and that want to come out with us, I want to get them out.
Sure.
I would say a big portion of our customers are people that just want to learn. They want to get on the water and they want to ask questions and they want to learn. We do get a lot of people from out of the area, but I get a lot of people from this area or like the extended area, like up in the Thumb, or like Mount Clemens, but they're just getting into it. They just got a boat. They want to learn. And so they come to us to learn and, we love doing that, but we want to help everybody as much as we can. So that the bait shop's one avenue, they can stop in the bait shop, pick our brains, but there's no better way to learn than being on the water with us. Seeing how we run the boat, seeing how we run our gear, seeing what gear we use, because then you can take your own boat out there, replicate it, and have success. Okay. What do they say? You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach him how to fish, he eats for his whole life. That we put that to the test. Okay.
Now you had mentioned before, not today, but a different time, about some sunset cruises.
Yeah. So that is, we talk about all the opportunities that we have with the bait shop. The sunset cruises is one. It's like on my to-do list. I have to get it done, but I need more time.
Okay.
We want to, we got a 24-foot pontoon boat that it's at the shop. It's used for family use. We're looking to get it inspected, and we're looking to do just private 6 to 8 person trips.
Okay.
BYOB. You basically just charge a flat rate for the boat.
Sure, you should.
We'll have a cooler on boat, bring your drinks and snacks, because once you start getting on the water and dealing with not only Michigan but the Coast Guard, you run into a lot of issues as far as like serving people food, serving them drinks. I don't want to get into any of that.
Right.
Bring your own drinks, bring your own coolers, and then we'll have 2 options. It'll be a 2.5 or 3 hour trip. We got to figure out the basics of it, but essentially we'll launch right in Marine City. And Marine City is nice because we're right mid-river.
Right.
I can go 20 minutes south and I'm into Elginak, where I can show people, you know, the flats and the channels and downtown Elginak and all the canal systems and all that kind of stuff. Or I'm 20 minutes from St. Clair, where you shoot up St. Clair and all the houses on the river are beautiful. So you get to see all that. It's a sunset cruise because the sun sets on our side. So when you get out to the middle of the river, we get to actually see the sunset on our side. It's gorgeous, man. Being out on the water, you've got a boat, right? So you get to see it. But being out there is so much different than being on shore. And then you get the tunes going, you get the cooler going, you get some nice weather. You know, 2.5 hours will get you up to St. Clair, will get us in the marina. You get to go downtown, see the boardwalk, or head downtown Elginak and see the boardwalk, and then head back. And that way, you know, we had a river cruise boat in Marine City. Paul, he got to retire and enjoy himself, and it looked like too much work.
Yeah, it was big.
So the less, the less people, you know, the easier it get to be. And okay, so we have more people, let's get another pontoon boat. But it's definitely something we're looking forward to. Probably won't be until 2023 until we get that sorted out, because there's a lot goes into it as far as, you know, the equipment that has to be on the boat. It's got to pass certain inspections and stuff. That way it's safe for everyone getting on.
Okay. Sounds like we covered everything. You want to tell people your phone number and again go over your address?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're at Hook One Bait and Tackle. You can find us at 1285 South Bell River Avenue. That's in Marine City. Basically, find the big stone piles. We're just to the north of it. So you can reach me on my cell phone at 810-335-3377. That'd be the Hook One Charters line. I would say the biggest thing is find us on Facebook. Find Hook One Bait and Tackle first. That's the main thing we use. And then you can find Hook One Charters. But a lot of our stuff, even if we do it on Hook One Charters, so we do a lot of fishing reports and, you know, keeping people up to date what's going on the river as far as like launch conditions, fishing conditions, all that good stuff. So anything that we do from the charter page gets cycled through the Bait and Tackle page. So I would definitely suggest going to Hook One Bait and Tackle, liking us on Facebook. From there, you can find our phone number, you can find our address, you can find my cell phone number, you can direct message us. Technology is great.
Oh, it is. I mean,
you know
even if you don't remember Pete's name, you can go Hook One.
Yeah, my name.
Marine City.
My name's not that. Just remember Hook One. You know, find us. You'll be able to find my name. And then that's the way to stay in tune with us. You can stay in tune with fishing reports, what they're biting on. We'll post open charter dates. If we have any that, like, you know, if there's a cancellation, we have one that opens up.
Sure.
A lot of the times what will happen is if we get a cancellation, we'll open it up where we'll just take, you know, a couple strangers, maybe like a group of one or a group of two, take 2 or 3 groups, get them on the boat. That is a cool way to meet new people, get a charter price at a discounted price for yourself, and still get out there and get on the water. So, yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, Hook One Bait and Tackle on Facebook. We're on Instagram. That would probably be the best way to get a hold of us, though.
Okie dokie. Thank you for coming in.
Cool. Thank you so much.
See you on the water.
That's it.
And we'll see you next time on CTV6. As I always say, don't touch the dial.
Don't touch the dial.